Hi, hello, how's it going? I'm drawing three sketches from Supernatural, and they're all from an episode I really like and from a season I really like. Season 6, that is. And it's based upon this one scene. It's playing right now. It's the scene where Dean gets converted into a vampire, and his brother watches, obviously, but that's not the main point. The point is how he looks in the scene, how he behaves, and what's being done to him. So, here we go. The first sketch. Wow, the time lapse looks really bad. Anyway, so the first time lapse playing right now, and I want to talk about why I like this scene so much in particular, other than it being super hot, basically. So it is one of the most erotically charged scenes in the whole show, and it's also the most disturbing to me, at least. It's like overtly perverse in its depiction of Dean and his mouth specifically. The episode's called Live Free or Twi Hard, which is obviously talking about the Twilight. It's a Twilight reference. And in which obviously a girl is subjected to the inescapable savageness and rugged primality of a vampire, or obviously a man. Um and I mean it's really interesting to see Dean be put in the position like that. The struggle of autonomy and his handle on masculinity is something his character struggles with, like throughout the entirety of the show, which is why it feels so tantalizing and risque to see him to see him in a yielding position like that, and to be forcefully fed blood. And even though the moment itself is, of course, displaying themes of power and control, he's being forced to do things. It's often perceived as like mirroring assault. That's the sort of in media, that's usually how it's described, or it's a common interpretation of what a vampire does. um it's just it portrays an act of conversion that's basically also sexual and extremely like tantalizing. And what makes the vampire bit of it really interesting is that the so-called victim, Dean in this case, comes out stronger as a result of the action. He's like gifted with abilities, which I find so interesting. He's different and experiences something like his brother can't understand in that episode and in that case. But now he's like open to a whole different spectrum of feelings and thoughts. And like to a degree, the impact of this sensual action is dampened because, well, we're aware Dean's gonna, overcome this, or whatever. I just find it so interesting the position they put him in. And like even though popular forms of monster media portray the relationship between humans, vampires and humans as one, of men and women, it mirrors men and women's relationships in the real world. The whole like vampire ideology is actually often charged with like homosexual and erotic tendencies. Like it's so fascinating. I mean, pretty much any sexual taboo can be placed within the confines of a vampire story because that's like what it asks for. But it's certainly interesting to discuss it in tandem with Dean's like presentation as an overtly heterosexual male. Like he's put into this position which obviously goes against his macho-ness and whatever. But yeah, this is the final thing. I love it. I love the pose. I don't know about the guy's face, but I really, really like this one. The hand looks good to me, and I'm happy with that one. Okay, the second one. Now that I've talked a bit about why the ideas and stuff, about why I like it, I'll talk about the art a little bit. So usually, every time I start a drawing, or a sketch in this case, I'll always start with the eyes. I don't know what it is. Like, unless the head's at an angle, like which you saw in the previous one, I think. Like, if it's at an angle, I'll draw the nose first. Because it centers everything on the page. I feel like drawing the features around the eyes makes everything so much more simple for me. It's like I can tell where everything's meant to go. Because it's usually taught that you should draw the biggest area first and then, refine down to the details, which is like draw the face first and then draw the eyes and nose, whatever. But for me, I feel like it all ends up in the right place if I end up focusing on the eyes. Maybe it's just because the eyes are essential. Obviously, the eyes are what you look at first when you look at anything, a person or a drawing or whatever. So I think it's cool. That's just the way I do things. That's just the way I do it. it's easy. I feel like it's easier to capture the humanity of the character as well if you focus on the eyes first, because that is where everyone's going to look first. So if you can capture the meaning of that, really greatly, then it'll be a positive outcome overall, I think. So here I am doing a little bit of cross hatching and things. It's going super slow, but I'm using my thin pen for this, and lately I've actually been drawing in like a thicker, more chunky ink pen, because I find like this is really good for like precise, and you want to know, like, exactly where the lines are supposed to be and where I'm supposed to shade and what I want to do. But sometimes if I want to be looser or freer in the way that I draw, then I'll use like a really thick pen to do like the big shapes. Like I said before, focus on the big shapes first, and then I'll come in with a thinner pen to add like the extra wrinkles and details and stuff. I will share some of those soon, probably. But yeah, so here I am. I also really like the hand, the way it's coming out in this one. This is also Dean. This is, like the second half of the clip where he's sort of like, it's getting smeared on his face. I don't know. It's just so, it makes you express outwardly. I don't know. There's something about it that makes you react heavily to it. And if that's disgust or if that's, some sort of erotic thrill you get from it, I just think it's really interesting. I really love that scene because I also, like, the show does basically focus on Dean's relationship to masculinity and all the stuff like that. I just find it so interesting they put him in that position where he's like a submissive sort of character. And here it is. Here's the finished version. I really like this one. I'm a big fan of this one. This is probably my favorite one out of the three, or the first one, but here we go. Here's the third one. This is like a bonus one. This is low-key not from the same scene, but I just felt like including 3 because I did 3 for my last video. So here we go. This is Dean again. I think it might be from the same episode, but it's not from the same scene. Or, I don't know. Anyway, it's Dean, and he's hugging Sam. And I always find his expressions to be super interesting because you can always tell he's guarded. And I love drawing characters that are not showing how they truly feel on their faces. It's always more interesting to explore that. I'm being really messy on this one, I just realized. It's also super close up, which I didn't realize I was recording like that. My tripod is away somewhere, and I don't know where it is, so I recorded this from my phone. Like, I had to hold my phone and record it, which is kind of awkward, but anyway. So here I am. Yep. Very nice. This is probably my least favorite one. There's something off about it. I'm looking at it right now on my sketchbook, and it's like something's off about this one. The other 2 are pretty like sharp and precise on what I want to do, but I feel like I just got really uncertain about what I want to do here. Oh, this is probably my favorite bit, the hand. I feel like I've gotten way better at drawing hands, which I'm happy about. But the rest of this drawing kind of pisses me off, but I hope you're going to enjoy it still. This is like stop motion, and the amount of frames are in this. This is insane. Here we go. Cross-hatching. Maybe I'll do like a tutorial on how I do like add depth to a drawing through cross-hatching or something. Maybe. Here we go. I'm drawing Sam's head right now. Yup. His hair. Something's off about his head shape, I think. I made it too pointy at the top. Even though your head is like sort of pointy at the top. Something about that seems off. But yep. Finishing up here. It's almost done. And let me know if anybody's watching this. If you want like tutorials or something. I don't know. I'm kind of just doing this because it's fun. But let me know if anybody wants something. But yep. And And if you really want to, like, learn how to do cross-hatching or draw in pens specifically, it is only a recent thing for me. I think it's probably been like a year that I've been using. Here's the final version. Something about his face is really pissing me off. But anyway, if you, it's only been like a year since I started using pen, and at first it was so janky and so bad. But let me know if you want that. But anyway, bye.